Seahawks fans. You know, when news like this starts coming out during the off-season, it's hard not to pay attention. Some developments can quietly change the future of a team, and this feels like one of those situations. There's a lot to like about what's happening right now, but at the same time, there's also a storyline that could become something Seahawks fans need to keep a close eye on. Personally, I think this is one of those updates that deserves a much bigger conversation than it's getting. Before we get into it, do me a favor. Hit that like button if you bleed blue and green, and drop a "Go Hawks" in the comments so I know the real Seahawks fans are locked in for this one. The Seattle Seahawks have just received a significant piece of news that could have long-term implications for the franchise, and surprisingly, it comes thanks to the Minnesota Vikings once again. A development that became much clearer during Minnesota's introduction of Nolan Teasley as their new general manager has now strengthened expectations that Seattle will receive valuable compensation for losing one of the most respected members of its front office. According to comments made during the Vikings press conference, Teasley will hold genuine authority within the organization, including final say over the 53-man roster, while still working closely with head coach Kevin O'Connell and other football executives. That detail is extremely important because it reinforces the belief that Seattle's loss of Teasley qualifies under the league's compensatory draft pick process tied to executive development. The expectation discussed in the report is that the Seahawks are positioned to receive 2 third-round compensatory selections as a result of Teasley's promotion. One of those projected picks would come in the 2027 NFL Draft, while the second would arrive in the 2028 NFL Draft. For a franchise that constantly emphasizes roster building through the draft, that is not a minor development. The discussion highlighted that the 2027 draft is already being viewed very favorably, with expectations that it could become one of the strongest draft classes seen in many years. If Seattle ultimately receives an additional third-round selection in that class, it would provide another opportunity to add young talent without sacrificing any existing assets. Of course, there is another side to the story. Nolan Teasley was not simply a name buried somewhere in the organizational chart. He was described as a highly respected assistant general manager and an accomplished evaluator of talent. Losing someone with that reputation naturally creates a challenge. Successful front offices are built on more than just one individual, but organizations do not casually replace experienced executives who have earned trust internally. Still, the broader message surrounding this development is a positive one for Seattle. The fact that another franchise was willing to elevate Teasley into such a powerful position speaks to the quality of the environment inside the Seahawks organization. The discussion emphasized that Seattle continues to demonstrate its ability to develop people throughout every level of the franchise. Whether on the field, among coaches, or within the front office, individuals are being given opportunities to grow and eventually earn larger roles elsewhere. That reputation matters. Teams around the league pay attention to where successful executives come from. When respected personnel members leave for promotions, it reflects positively on the organization that helped prepare them for those opportunities. While Seahawks fans may not immediately celebrate the departure of a valued executive, receiving premium draft compensation softens the impact considerably. While that news represented one of the major positive developments discussed, another storyline emerged that could become far more concerning if it gains momentum in the coming weeks. The focus shifted toward a situation involving the Los Angeles Rams and the possibility of Aaron Donald returning to the NFL. At this stage, nothing has been confirmed. There is no official announcement and no indication that a comeback is imminent. However, comments referenced in the report have created enough speculation that the situation is worth monitoring closely. The discussion began with attention on Rams defensive lineman Jalen Logan Redding, but quickly expanded into a broader conversation involving Aaron Donald. The report referenced comments indicating that Pat McAfee has apparently been communicating with Donald and encouraging discussions about a potential return to football. While some of that could simply be light-hearted conversation, the suggestion was that there may be at least some level of consideration taking place behind the scenes. From Seattle's perspective, even the possibility creates concern. The analysis made it clear that nobody should automatically assume Donald would return and instantly dominate the league exactly as he once did. Yet at the same time, the argument was made that players of Donald's caliber rarely come back and become irrelevant. The belief expressed was that even if he returned as merely an above-average player, that would still represent a major addition. What makes the possibility especially noteworthy is the impact it could have on the Rams' defensive front. Pairing an experienced and productive Aaron Donald with elite defensive talent already on the roster would create a difficult challenge for opponents. That is why the report stopped short of calling the situation a certainty, but emphasized that Seahawks fans should continue paying attention throughout the offseason. At this point, the story remains speculative. There is smoke, but no confirmed fire. However, off-season developments often begin with small comments and subtle hints before turning into much larger headlines. Until the situation is completely dismissed or officially resolved, it remains one of the more intriguing storylines involving a division rival. The contrast between the Teasley news and the Aaron Donald discussion creates an interesting picture for Seattle. On one side, the Seahawks appear positioned to benefit from valuable future draft capital. On the other, a potential rival storyline could complicate the competitive landscape if it develops further. Both situations could have meaningful consequences extending well beyond the current offseason. As things stand today, the projected compensatory picks represent a tangible gain for Seattle, while the Donald situation remains something to watch rather than something to fear. The coming months will determine whether either storyline grows even larger, but both have already captured attention because of their potential impact on the Seahawks' future. What do you think about the possibility of the Seahawks receiving 2 third-round compensatory picks for losing Nolan Teasley? And are you concerned at all about the speculation surrounding a potential Aaron Donald return? If you enjoyed this update and want to stay ahead of every Seahawks story as it happens, make sure you subscribe to the channel right now and turn on notifications so you never miss breaking news. Leave a like if you think Seattle came out ahead in this situation, and let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Do you believe the Seahawks should move quickly on their next big decisions, or are you comfortable with the direction the team is taking? Thanks for watching, and be sure to click the video that's on your screen right now because the latest Seahawks news, rumors, and updates are waiting for you there. The fastest Seahawks coverage and the stories you don't want to miss are right here on this channel.